Reinforcements arriving at Ukraine's revolutionary headquarters. In a public display of dissent against President Yanukovych, dozens of police from the west of the country have defected and this morning arrived in Independence Square, they said, to back the fight against the government. The EU flag, a new addition to their uniforms, a reminder of how these protests began in the first place.
The situation in Ukraine is so bad we decided to come to Kiev to show our support for the protests. We all made the decision to come ourselves.
Overnight, EU and Russian officials were locked in intense talks with the government to try and prevent more bloodshed. The president says a deal has been agreed to end the crisis. That includes early elections and a change to the constitution, with powers transferred from the presidency to the parliament. Protesters are cautious, though, and it's far from certain whether the men manning the barricades will accept the plan. These are petrol bombs. The protesters are clearly ready for a fight. What matters to them is whether President Yanukovych remains in power. Until he goes, these demonstrations look set to go on, and the anger and division in this country could continue to grow. Those divisions are just as stark in Parliament. Vitaly Klitschko, the boxer-turned-opposition leader and presidential hopeful, has been involved in plenty of fights and watched on as scuffles broke out between MPs arguing over the crisis. The government still blames the protesters for the violence. The country and the world is focused on events in Independence Square, and how the people across the country react will determine the fate of Ukraine. Duncan Crawford, BBC News, Kiev.